Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic. Hope you are having a fabulous day in this very strange time we find ourselves. Today is the 7th of January 2021 when I'm recording this, and I just wanted to make a quick video just about what's happened in the last sort of 24-48 hours. I was up, I watched it all live, the whole protesting and the, what do we call it, the peaceful occupation of the Capitol building. Obviously, information has now come out that there was more than one side in there at the time, but what I felt was at that point the energy was very, very high, and then suddenly 6 or 8 hours later it was very low. It just went up and down, and I've been looking at what people have been writing and posting, and had a few messages, and everyone's a bit confused about what's going on. So I just wanted to come on and do a quick video and give you my perspective of what is happening, and just to let you all know, guys, this is all a show, so grab the popcorn. Alright, so we know what happened. Obviously massive, huge rally called by President Trump in Washington. He then called for everyone to march down to the Capitol building. He didn't mention occupying it, he didn't mention anything. He just said, let's walk down to the Capitol building, as a show of, the force of what we believe as far as election fraud did happen. Now, one thing I noticed is when Trump was doing his speech, he looked good. He actually looked younger than he has for the last year or so. He looked really good. He looked really confident. He didn't look worried at all, because what you've got to remember is if Trump loses this, if Trump loses the election, what do you think is going to happen to him? I mean, he will be destroyed. They will try and put him in jail. They'll probably succeed. And then they will destroy his whole dynasty, his businesses, everything. They will go after everything, because he's worth, apparently around $1 billion. He's worth at least hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions. They'll just steal that all. They will destroy him. So Trump's fighting for his life, guys. So he, after all we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years, especially the last year, with what he has done, for him to come out with the biggest event yet, to look that confident, to look that good, and for it to just all blow up and to be a mistake, that doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't feel right, and that's definitely not what's going on. So what did go on? Now, obviously, all the MAGA supporters marched down very peacefully. Nothing at all. These guys weren't even dropping rubbish. And compare that to what we've seen with the other side's peaceful protests in the last 8 months. So they walked down. Now we have the footage. We have the video. The police not only opened the gates and the doors for the small contingent that didn't look like the rest of the supporters, should we say. People with horns on their heads, people with tattoos of sickles on their hands, people who have been photographed in BLM and antifa protests. These people were let through. We have the video by the police, and they were waved forward. There's videos of people going, come on, police in uniform, come on this way, go into the building. And of course, a lot of the MAGA protesters were just there, and so they followed them. And that's how we ended up with a building full of people. Now, there's also footage of these, non-MAGA people out there, trying to destroy stuff, trying to start fires, trying to, get in there and make a mess and do what they normally do. and the Trump supporters were stopping them. That's why the building didn't burn down. That's why the building didn't get trashed, is because of the actual peaceful protesters that were there. All the Trump supporters, they stopped it all, because the plan was the Democrats. Their plan was, they obviously knew that the rally was coming. They obviously had intel that there would be a march to the Capitol, and so what did they do? They planted Antifa in there with orders to create chaos, to burn, destroy, and basically make the Trump supporters look like the other side actually is, if you know what I mean. Because this is all gaslighting on such a huge scale. That's what it is, guys. It's a mental, psychological warfare. That's what we're in at the moment. You know, it's World War III. It's not going to be fought with guns and bullets. This is a mental, psychological warfare, and this is their only weapon, is the media and this false narrative they keep pumping out. So, yeah, the other side, the Democrats, they got their Antifa, they got the police. Well, not all the police, but they got some. They said, let them in, show them in. I don't think they would have given them the whole plan. Obviously, a couple would have known. So they got them all in the building. And then the Antifas, it was basically their orders were destroy. But that didn't happen. They got stopped. So, 6 or 8 hours later, what happens is the left side just start pumping out their stories, their headlines that were pre-made. All these headlines were pre-made, and you know it because they don't make any sense at all. None. There's also video of a man who's in a hotel room in Washington, and he's watching the news of a reporter, and in the background of the reporter there's thousands of people, and they're all burning and screaming and fighting and looting and being, acting generally like left side supporters act. And this guy goes to the window of his hotel, and the reporter, because he's live, he's actually on the street below him, and he records him, and there's no one around. The streets are empty. It's just green screened. It's all, guys, this is all a film. It's none of it's true. Do not believe anything the media say. They are media, the goddess of illusion. It's just a story. And this, I've said this quite a few times. Their main power, and really their only power, is to control our power, because we're the power. Thought is our power. Through thinking and what we think, focus on, we create things. That's how we create reality and the future and all that stuff. And that's what the MSN is all about, is harnessing our power, getting us all to focus on what they want us to focus on. So don't do that. So basically this was all underhanded plans, that what we sort of looking from above didn't see, So Trump had gone in. Now Trump has other stuff planned, obviously. So the left have tried to, get the Capitol building destroyed, and it didn't work. All that happened is they shot and killed a young lady, and they threw, I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 people off a balcony. The cops did. Peaceful protesters, and apparently they're all dead. 35 foot up in the air, they just threw them off a balcony. This is what's coming in. So peaceful protesters, nothing done. The only destruction and death, again, caused by the left, the other side. So this is a complete false narrative. And this was their last hand. They were trying so hard to get the public, us, to believe that Trump was a terrorist and everyone who followed him was a terrorist, because they wanted the Capitol building destroyed. That was the plan. That didn't happen. Now, another thing to take note of is the speech that Joe Biden came out with. Now, this dude cannot string a sentence together. We've all seen it all year. This guy is just a complete mental moron. He's nothing upstairs. He's so controlled, he can't even think. But in the middle of all this, he comes out with, what was it, a 5-10 minute speech that was perfect. No stuttering, no stammering. He looked coherent. This, the best speech we've seen from old Jojo in years. And he can just whack that together, written, taped and everything, literally within an hour of this whole thing starting. that was pre-recorded, and God knows how long it took them to get that video, to get Joe to actually look like he had a brain. It must have taken them weeks. So this is all pre-planned. Same as the headlines. They all come out, all pre-planned. But at this point, all they're doing is overexposing themselves because they have no more playbook. They are left-brained. They are not creative. They can't come up with new plans. And this is why they keep failing, because, they do all this stuff. And we as creative men and women, we do things like meme them, and they don't understand it. They try and meme back, and they just look like ridiculous children. So everything they do, we take and we use our creativity with it, and they can't compete with that. Their only tool through the whole last age was control. Just make everyone think what they want them to think, and that way we don't use our creativity. We don't ask questions, because basically they control the narrative, and then they give us all these things like jobs, not enough money to live, expensive housing, wars, depressions, all this stuff to keep us confused and to keep us seeing what they're doing behind the scenes. So this is what's happened. So, stormed the White House. Apparently, Antifa were let in. They were just supposed to destroy it. They didn't. We have all the pictures. We know who was doing it. It's all documented. Everything. Which is good. Now, so why would Trump do that? Why would he say march down to the... Did he know they would be let in? He probably did. I'm sure he knew exactly what the other side were doing. And he also knew that his, around 1 million plus supporters that were there were real heart-centered people and weren't going to destroy the Capitol and weren't going to let it be destroyed. So, what would you do? Send your 1 million people down there against, the 30 or so Antifas, and I think that was the plan. They stopped it. And, of course, Pence, right? Pence, the man who a week ago was high in everyone's thoughts, is now the Judas of the world, basically. He has... oh my gosh, did he fall? So Pence walked in to the elections wearing a blue tie, by the way, a Democrat colour tie when he's the Republican vice president, and basically backflipped and went against his own party and Trump. Now, why would Trump let that happen? Because he just wanted to make sure that it was going to happen, and he also wanted to incriminate these people. So everything they're doing is illegal against, constitutionally illegal. So the highest form of illegality and fraud, it's as far as you can go. Trying to take over the government of a country, that's sedition. You can't do that's death penalty stuff. And this is what they're all doing. And he's just sitting back, collecting evidence, getting it all. There's no way he would let that happen if he wasn't sitting on a ton of evidence. And everyone, of course, is yelling, release the evidence. Just release the Kraken, release the hounds. But there's obviously a reason that he's not doing that. So what reason would he have for not releasing the hounds and all the information he's got? We've heard about the Kraken and all this stuff. Well, he's getting more information. He's getting more proof. Now, what's happened is, if you've done any amount of research, you know what's going on with the deep state. They own and control the court system. They do. Everyone's bought and sold. All the judges, all the Supreme Court judges, we've seen this in the last couple of months. And so the thing is, is there any way that you think Trump could actually go through that system and win? Look what happened with the voting. He had all these senators that said they would sign and put up protests about election results, and they all folded. None of them signed, because they're all bought and sold. They've all been blackmailed. They've all got evidence held against them that if they do the wrong thing, certain things get released and their life gets destroyed. So they're all bought and sold. So as far as going through the system to destroy the system, that can't happen, guys. Think about it. It doesn't make sense at all. You cannot go, through this system that is designed by the parasites, for the parasites, to benefit only the parasites. You can't go through a system like that and come out destroying the parasites. So this is what's going on. Everyone's going, what's he doing? What's he doing? Why is he letting them vote? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter who they say is Prime Minister, President and Vice President. If it's all done illegally and he has the evidence and the proof, well, who cares? So what's he doing? Well, what has Trump spent the last 4 years doing? And this, of course, hasn't been shown as much at all in the media because it's probably not viewed as bad. But basically, Trump's put a lot of time and effort into rebuilding the military. And he has actually started saying this in the last couple of weeks. We also saw around election time, just beforehand, he went through the Pentagon and he sacked a lot of high-level people in the army and intelligence and armed forces. So that's really, as far as I can see, that's been his main focus is the army, because obviously he's surrounded by people that are dropping like flies. He thought, and this, I think he's testing the waters, who's really on his side, who's going to stand by him. And I think that was also a bit about letting that election count go forward to expose Pence. But Flynn seems to be one of the good guys, and of course Trump saved Flynn, got him out, got him safe, and got him into his administration. Now Flynn is an army man, so this may be the connection. Of course, the whole 17 thing, Q, his army base as well. So this is what he seems to have. This seems to be the Trump card, the army. He can just take control. He can call martial law whenever he wants. And if not, he can just send the army in to arrest all these people, get them into a military court, and try them there. And I'm pretty sure that's the plan. Because, like I said, he'd have no chance through the, the fake maritime legal system. He'd have no chance. But if he goes through military, it's a very controlled environment. It's going to come out. The truth will prevail. And more importantly, the punishments will be handed out and they will stick. Which is another thing. If you go through the legal court, what's going to end up in the end? How are they going to be punished? And if they are, they'll probably just get out of it because, of course, they own the system. So this is what's going on. So I know everyone's confused and it seems, it looks like evil is winning, but they're not, guys. It's just a show. Of course, we know that MSN is just complete fakery. So, just, don't believe anything you see anymore. Just sort of taking the information, weigh it up. And at this point, the best thing we can do is really just believe and put our intention and our energy into the best coming out. That's how we can help. At this point, it doesn't really matter too much, to tell you the truth, if people are going to focus on, oh my God, we've lost bad stuff, because we seem to have hit a point now. Now this is, well, it's 2021, so let's just talk about everything, right? So you've all heard about Project Looking Glass. This was a project, it's real, it's cited, and it was basically a way that the cabal were looking into the future. We're not really sure what the means or the technology is, but at some point, Trump and his side, or the military intelligence, whatever that group is, have got hold of this technology. And so basically the parasites were using this technology to throw scenarios into the future. So they had this, whatever it was, technology, and they could view dates and they could put in, data. If we do this, what will the outcome be? Like literally, this is what they were doing. And so this is how they've been controlling the narrative from behind. This is how things like The Simpsons, all these kind of anomalies, this is how they work. We see all this stuff in The Simpsons, right? It's just come out that the Viking, the horn dude from the protests yesterday, that's in the Simpsons episode as well. Groundskeeper Willie dressed up as the Viking man, same tattoos and everything. So how does that work? Well, it's because they're throwing scenarios into the future and seeing what comes back. And this is how they get predictive programming. They're actually seeing what the results are through this technology before they have to implement the actions to get those results. So this was going along, and they were using it, and they were doing pretty well with it. You know, it was working very well for them. But what has happened at one point, and this is to do with ages and everything, is 2021, the timelines all converged. And we have video of a high-level, I'm not sure what he was, psychic computer guy who was working as a contractor for the government. He was called in to look at this thing, and he talks about what was going on. And what happened is their scenarios stopped working. They stopped getting okay, so when they put in the information to get a scenario back, it always came back the same. No matter what they put in, no matter what data was put in, everything that came back, that data would produce, was always the same. And what it was telling them is that as of 2021, they were going to lose control, and they could no longer affect the timeline. It was going to 0 point and basically start again. So end of an age, which is the start of an age. If you think of Tauruses, the inside going outside, all that kind of thing. So they lost control, and this is what we're living through, guys. They're losing it because they can no longer control the narrative, and we're in a new age now. So, and I've said this before, they know they've lost, guys. They know they've lost. They are, you know, they don't want to lose. They're reeing and screaming and, you know, trying as much as they can. But, you know, as we can see, it's just nothing. Everything they do just exposes them more because, and this is exactly what this guy in this interview was saying, is that when we hit this time point, they can't affect the future anymore. Everything that they do, all that it can produce as far as results is to kill them, to add to their demise, to expose them more. And this is what we've seen. It's happening everywhere. Every single little thing they do. You know, especially what happened on the 6th, and them coming out and all the headlines and that, and calling, you know, the peaceful protesters, you know, violent terrorists who broke into the Capitol building. No, they were led in by the police. We have the video and photos, everything. And so this is what's happening. The timelines have converged, and whatever they do, the parasites, they can't win. It keeps coming out the same, which is a win for us. So don't, you know, my main message is, guys, don't buy into the fear, don't buy into the stress of this whole situation. We are getting, I know it's been a long ride, and I know it's been very tough for a lot of people out there. But we are getting near the end, and believe me, when we get there, the last 8-10 months will evaporate pretty quickly because we're going somewhere much, much better. There is going to be a new normal, and there is going to be a reset. But it's not the one that the parasites wanted. It's the one that we're creating and we're going to create. So, like I said, the best thing to do is just focus, put your energy into what do you want in the future, because you can start creating it now. And because we're in the new age, we're in ether, air age, we can create a lot quicker. We just need to really focus, you know, on what we want. And this is what we're being told. This is what we're being shown. All this focusing on what the media tells us, just, it's wrong. It gets us to believe the wrong thing and to create the wrong narrative and to create a world that's not good for us but good for them. And this is what's been going on for the last, 21,060 years, 2160, something like that, the last cycle. But it's over. It's over. So don't buy into the fear, guys. I know it's very chaotic, but this is what they're doing, trying to create confusion and fear. They just, you know, want to see if they can stay in power for another couple of days at this point, and also they want to do as much destruction as they can on the way out. Like literally, like I said, that they wanted to destroy the Capitol building. I mean, just look what they've destroyed in the last 8 months in the US. They love it. They love it. And then they sit back and get us to fight against each other, and then they laugh. But we're going to get the last laugh, because look at them. They're struggling. They don't know what's going on. They can't fight. I've said it before, you can't fight the universe, you know. You can change certain things, but when we come to the sky clocker and the big changes and the big influences on us, you know, the sky clock's going to chime and go to the next hour whether we like it or not. And we are in the 11th hour, guys. It is always darkest before the dawn. So good things are literally just around the corner. Alright, so I'll keep you updated if you want me to. If you like this kind of format again, I'm going to put this out again as you know, a podcast sort of format just on YouTube. So yeah, again, let me know. Do you like this kind of format? Are you interested in me coming on and talking about things? Obviously, most of it will be history based and historical and what my normal sort of content, but of course this is history, guys, because look, we're living through history right now. They will be writing about these times in hundreds of years. You know, seriously, in 1,000 years there'll be people like us going on sites like Gallagher and finding books written by people like us about what has happened now, and they'll be going, what the hell happened? What went on there? This is history, guys. Circular. Cyclical. And we're coming to the end, and well, we're actually right in there at the moment. It's changing right now. The change, you know, if you look at it astrologically, goes through to March before they sort of say we're definitely 100% in Aquarius, but we're definitely in the change zone. I mean, just look around. Alright, guys, and of course, check out links below. We don't know what's going to happen to YouTube. I am on BitChute and Odyssey. Most of my stuff's on BitChute. I'm still working on Odyssey, so follow me on those platforms just in case anything happens. I also have another couple of YouTube channels. The links are below, so you can check them out. And obviously, like and share this content if you enjoy it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And a big thank you to everyone who always supports me. You really are so appreciated. That's why I don't have bad days, guys. I just get on and read my comments, and you guys are amazing. So thank you so much for all you do. And of course, thank you for everyone who has the means to help me financially through PayPal, Patreon, and my merch stores. It is very appreciated. And if you want to do that, the links are below. So thank you for spending some time with me, guys. Focus on the positive. Put your energy into what you want to build in the future. And we're almost there. So keep smiling, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.